everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Apex, the podcast. Ladies and gents, there's just the boys here today, me, E, and Jumba. We've got a lot of news to catch up with in the ALGS so far. We have qualifiers that are getting done. It's still technically the off season, but a lot of these teams are starting to fill in and fill out for the upcoming ALGS Open. That's what people are trying to get into right now. So on top of that, we got some crazy retirements as well as some crazy streams, some rumors, all the good stuff, even some rosters that have settled in. So let's get to all of that. But before we do, let's check in with the fellas. Jumba, how are you feeling, brother?
Terrible.
Yeah?
Jeez.
I'm good. Should I throw him for the loop every once in a while, you know?
You have to. You have to. You got to do it. E, how are you feeling?
Doing well. Nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Has the season gotten a little bit better for you? Has there been a slingshot?
100%. I figured it out. I slingshot it out. It was always a slingshot.
Yeah.
Can't keep
No
up with
doubt.
that boy effect though, eh? Once he's in the off season, that guy effect is just
No,
so
yeah.
far.
If that man does not have
Pro League.
Pro League to worry about, and he wants it, he's a tough one to take it from.
I saw like he posted that he hit 100k RP and someone just responded and said, how do you always, Verhul says, how do you do it again and again? Like when you got like players of that caliber, like puzzled about how this guy just pulls that way that far in ranked, you just know there's something special about him.
Because it's like putting in it's like performing at such a high rate for such a prolonged period of time. Because it's like he's gaining, like he just plays and he just gains.
When you were grinding for number one that season and you were kind of like against him, how do you remember like how much RP was he putting up? Like, so like say like he played like a 2-hour session. What would that correlate to your session?
2-hour session.
He wouldn't? What would he play?
He would. I mean, like I wasn't keeping track of him because at the beginning of mine, like I had a rough start. And so I wasn't really keeping track of like where everybody was at. But I mean, Effect, he like actually like I owe a decent amount of like my number one because like Effect was so much like was putting up like gapping everybody else that I think the majority of the other people who were going for rank 1 just were like mentally just defeated by how much
He took them all out.
He like literally just mentally just like because he just pulled so far ahead, and then it wasn't until like he had to really lock in and focus up for like the last like 2 weeks of Pro League or so that he just stopped playing ranked entirely just so he was like fully focused. And then like I believe like they either came in first and second in both of those like last 2 weeks once like that's what he was doing, and like that's why I was able to like just. So I beat every single other person, and then thankfully Effect stopped playing.
Yeah, I guess my question was more so it's like, how many hours did you have to play to get like to the RP of an Effect session?
Like around like 16.
Good God.
Well, I mean, because I mean, like, no, dude, when it was just
crazy.
Like, the thing with Effect is that, like, I was like consistently winning, right? And like you'd get like consistent like 200, 300 point games. Like, and then like occasionally 400. Like, Effect was just dropping bombs. Like,
nukes.
he just he would literally just run around the map and just kill everybody.
I just can't even imagine having like playing 16 straight hours. Like, I love the game. It's awesome. It's great. But playing 16 straight hours, even if it wasn't in like a competition against somebody, I still think I would have trouble doing. I don't think I can do any one thing for 16 hours straight, except maybe binge watch Love is Blind with the fellas inside the Discord, which I've been
you
doing
gotta
this week.
genuinely really like, I mean, I genuinely like very much enjoy playing FPSs, right? Like that's just something that like I've always enjoyed doing. And then like when you're doing the number one grind and you're like a lot of different numbers are all going in a very positive direction. And it's like, I would say that makes it easy. Like I would say like the number one grind was like easier for me mentally than like putting up like consistent 12-hour days right now. Because like when you're on like the number one grind, like you're really playing for something. And then when you're just seeing all the numbers go up, it's like motivating because
Yeah.
you're like, I have to like, because like you know that the numbers are there because of the ridiculous amount of time you're putting in, and so like you can always get it back, but the sacrifice is like all like it was like 16 hours a day for like 6 days, well for 5 days a week, and then I'd have a 24-hour because
Good
I would always
God.
have my 24 I would always have my 24 hours off from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday.
Mhm.
And then I would do like a 24-hour starting at some point on Saturday night, pretty much every week.
Wyatt, would you say that you play the same game of Apex as Effect?
Uh,
I don't
yeah,
think
that's a
I
good
do.
point.
I
No,
don't
that's a
think
good
I do.
point.
That's not the same game we're out here playing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you
Like-
brought that up. I was just speaking I was just saying more, not that it was more about the 16 hours of just doing one thing.
No, I know. I wasn't
tough.
even talking about that. I was literally speaking separate question aside from the fact that it's like, I feel like you and I, when we load up Apex and we start playing, that's not the same. It doesn't feel
No.
like, I feel like the experience is very different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It
We're
is,
out
and
there
that's
in the
why he's able
trenches.
to do it. Like he's in the trenches every single day, each and
No,
every day.
he's not in
doing
the
it.
trenches. He's having a blast. We get
But
in the
yeah,
trenches.
it's like I guess the trenches would just be the time. That just the time you're sinking in. That's basically it. Because everything else he can do with ease, and he's done it with ease for years. So it's crazy to watch. He's consistently just always
I've
there.
never heard of a person talk about Effect and like it's played with Effect in a ranked game and been like that they can keep up with him. That's what I've always heard. But
It's
like,
yeah. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
So-
Well, boys, let's get into some of the news here, and let's kick it off with the biggest story I would say throughout the entire ALGS, whatever you want to call it, the universe, the ALGSU, over the weekend, and that was that Sweet Dreams, at least for now, is stepping away from Apex Legends. I think he's still going to be playing. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's going to be playing very soon. Like streams are going to be coming back up. I just think competitively, he's taking a little bit of a break. He said he wants to reevaluate some things, take a step back, see where ALGS moves forward going into year 5 and year 6 potentially. So he wants to just see how that is going. And then he ripped a stream where he ended it with, I think it was like 4 stacks of $50,000 in his hands and said, yeah, this is kind of why. And I think that makes sense. I think that is, yeah, I get it. I got you. But yeah, I guess I'll throw it on down to E first. I mean, Sweet, as long as we've done the show and even before, he's been a pillar of Apex Legends competitive. He's always been in conversations as one of the best, if not the best IGLs. He's always a name that you want to bring up. You always want to see how he's doing in all the tournaments, but him stepping away for a little bit, how do you feel about overall the Sweet Dreams experience that we've had for the last couple of years?
I mean, I think he'll definitely go down as one of the best to do it. He didn't quite walk away with that championship trophy, but outside of that, I'm sure he's very proud of, as he definitely should be, of all of what he's accomplished and done in his time in Apex, not only from a competitive standpoint, but also what he's done as a content creator in terms of the different YouTube and then Twitch content that he's provided. He's definitely one of the best to do it when it comes to the ranked 1 grind, and then as well as just being an entertaining guy to watch. Definitely has been one of the best to do it from both a content and competitive perspective, and being able to make both of those work at the same time. Definitely not from the perspective of streaming scrims or doing anything that Hal's definitely on top when it comes to that. But it's been a fun time watching Sweet's journey, and I'm excited. Like the fact that he can be arguably one of the most successful people in Apex, and that he's walking away because he has better opportunities and the other stuff that he has going on. You just got to absolutely love to see it, and to be in that position at like the age he's at, it's going to be cool to see where he goes.
Yeah, and once again, I think a lot of people misinterpreted his Discord message that he originally released, saying that I think he said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, Apex Legends esports just isn't viable for me as to continue making money off of this or whatever. And a lot of people took that as he wasn't making enough. It's like, no, he's made more than enough. It's just why sink that time in when you have other hobbies, other interests, other things you want to go do. And, it's to be a professional in the ALGS, you got to sink in a ton of time. He obviously has things he wants to do outside of it. And I think people kind of misconstrued that a little bit. That's not what he was saying. He has what he needs. And I think going back to your point, E, it's also huge that our esport has allowed somebody to make a considerable amount of money to the point where they can retire comfortably at a very young age and do what they need to do, and kind of chase after the things they want to chase after in life, just because of this game. And that's where you want your esport to be, I think, overall. You want to have it to where there is these types of opportunities so that moving forward, it's more of an attractive esport for younger, newer players, and it continues to grow throughout, what we hope to be a very long and fruitful esport. Jumba, your thoughts on it?
I mean, just like the wording was, he said, the unfortunate reality set in that Apex is no longer financially viable for me. And I will say, like, that does make it sound like, holy, Sweet's not making enough money playing Apex. But the thing is, like, it's more so like you guys have already both said, Sweet's making so, like, from what he said on his stream, so much money and like other opportunities that it just, and I saw Hal talk about it too, that like he makes so much money other areas that it almost like it's tough to stay motivated with Apex at that point. I will say, like, he I think he, like, when I watched like part of the stream, like he handled it like a actually as respectful as like he possibly could. Like there's like some valid criticisms about ALGS or like just a competitive Apex in general that I think he had. Some things I think he was a little bit crazy about with what he was saying, I'll be honest. But like he tried to approach it, I think, from a sense of just explaining from his perspective that like for the whole scene, it's maybe not sort of like this red light emergency. We're losing out here. Um so anyways, yeah, kind of like the same sentiments. The fact that he's you know done so well with Apex and everything like that, and streaming and competing and everything like that, that he's able to like kind of take that step away is pretty cool. And I just hope that like when time goes on and like we have these situations, that the players just at least remember what did it for them. I'm not saying Sweet didn't, just that they remember to like, if they ever want to step away and everything like that, that they're like, yeah, Apex is what got me here, right? Like they don't kind of like take that for granted and shit on the game, because I've seen that before happen in the past, and I don't like that. But like he not saying that he did that. That's why I'm saying like, he did try to like, operate as respectful as possible. Also too, I kind of like that, at the very least, he said it's a hiatus. He doesn't know if he'll come back. He didn't say I'm quitting, I'm retiring, and then we'll see him next week, or like in 2 weeks, or like 6 weeks, whatever it is when they always come back. But at the very least, he said like I might be back, just gonna like take some time to figure it out. Yeah, so that's my point.
Yeah, actually, to that point, he did at a certain moment in that stream take some time and say, "Hey, the fact that I did this all because of a video game is not lost on me." And he went through
Okay,
it and
see, I missed that,
explained
but yeah.
exactly what you were saying. Like he knew like he sounded very grateful to the game and what it gave to him. And I think like sometimes you read tweets and you hear comments on streams and different stuff like that where you think maybe they're not fully appreciative of the position that they've put themselves in with just this game. But you can definitely tell he understood it. And I think sometimes you have to take a step away from something to realize how much it actually gave to you. And having this stream and being able to have this stream, and he's got 4 stacks of 50 thou wow sitting right next to him. I think you take a moment, you're like, wow, that's, you know what? Yeah, I like this game did a lot for me. So I think that's what he did. And I think another thing too, that not only people in Apex, but other esports as well can look at when it comes to Sweet Dreams is that Sweet is exactly what you want to be when it comes to being a professional player. It's not just being a professional that gets you the money. It's having the stream, it's having the sponsorships, it's having the personality and the wherewithal to have you like try to continue to grow both things at the same time. You want to be the best player you can competitively, but you also want to make sure that you're growing things outside of that. And that's exactly what Sweet did. And he did kind of go into very specific numbers on sponsorship deals, stream numbers, winnings, all that kind of stuff. And he kind of explained how being multifaceted really helped him out and was able to get him to be one of the most, rich players from this esports, from this specific esports. So yeah, it was definitely eye opening. It was cool to watch, and as somebody who just enjoyed watching him play, I just enjoyed his style of IGLing, where you're basically there's no moment where he's not speaking. I always found that super impressive. So it was cool to see, and it's going to suck to not see him there for now. But once again, he did say that there's a chance he comes back. So
I was actually just looking, and funny enough, he actually did stream 300 hours in November and then 200 hours in October. Because other than that, like you were saying, like like in the last year, his stream like hours like definitely dipped. But like actually, maybe who knows? Maybe now that he's like not competing anymore, he finds a love for it again fully. But yeah,
yeah,
I know he did mention that he would definitely have some naughty rank sessions.
nice.
Yeah, he did say that on the stream as well. He did say
I
that.
mean, 300 hours, like just quickly looking here, is the most he's ever streamed in a month. What happened in November? Like that this.
Oh, he was doing his rank 1 grind.
Yeah. And he just got the full passion. Just I knew he was doing the rank 1 grind, but 300 hours is crazy.
I mean, I think he barely streamed the months leading up to it and was like, okay, it's silly for him to not take advantage of like where he was at and everything he had going. Because I mean, that man turns on the stream and that's like an instant 2K minimum, and that like 2K ad rev on Twitch is not bad at all.
Nothing to scoff at.
Don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so I guess the moving off from Sweet, even though this kind of relates him a little bit, there was a comment he made about year 6 of ALGS being canceled, and he clarified that a little bit. Jumbo, I feel like you have more specifics on what exactly he said, because I don't have the comment in front of me right now. But essentially, he said there's the rumor that year 6 is canceled, and then put in parentheses, it is not a rumor or something like that. Yeah, everything I've heard, that's not true. So I don't know the specifics of it, but yeah.
So he said here, sadly, this news coupled with the rumor, not a rumor, that ALGS year 6 is canceled. The funny thing is like he did say, he's like, oh, this was supposed to be a post for our community. Like I was not expecting it to get out. How would you say something like that in a post for your community and not expect someone to screenshot that and throw it on the Reddit and then on Twitter? But like, yeah, he basically said that what like he's like ALGS. He said like people have to realize now is ALGS is a smaller part of competitive Apex, and that while ALGS year 6 may be canceled, that doesn't mean competitive Apex isn't canceled. It just may look different next year. I don't know what to think about that. I don't know, like even the not a rumor does not sell it for me. Respectfully, from what I've like, I don't know Sweet personally or anything like that, but I have heard that like he's not the best for spreading like correct information. So I don't know what to make of it. I'm not gonna like read into it at all. But like if he is just saying like, okay, it might be like under something different that's not ALGS, at the very least, like it just sounds like competitive Apex isn't going anywhere, and because it's uncertain for him, because it's not that ALGS format, he just wants to take them some time to evaluate his options, like rather than just go into something that seems uncertain. That's basically what he was getting at.
Yeah. So as far as I know, and I mean, I'm not even near the top of any food chain ladder or anything like that. But as far as I know, that's kind of just not really the full story right there. So we'll leave it at that. I think there's a lot of things going on in the works, and I'm really excited for the upcoming year 5. And then we'll see what happens from there. But that's kind of that was the big story. That was the one that really kind of grasped everybody's attention after the initial shockwave wore off, that like Sweet was stepping back for a little bit. Now, moving on into some other news here, we have some rosters that have finally been locked in. Really just 2 of them, at least in NA. I think there's some around the other parts and other regions, but the 2 that we have here so far, Stallions, is going to be Alberlelli, Crook, and Enemy. And then we have the first team that was announced was Sykes, Zap, and Dropped. And when that one dropped, no pun intended, that was a big day on Twitter because that team looks insane.
Sykes app and Dropped. I remember seeing that one too, and I was like, wait, that's actually ridiculous. That's especially like having Zap drop back to more of a frag type role. or just like I say frag type role, just like not IGLing, I should say, because like those roles in such of like fragger, like anchor, I feel like are also even kind of like changing at this point, right? But nonetheless, just having him step back from IGLing, I think that IGLing experience was probably invaluable to him. It's going to help him so much, like in whatever position he plays with that on that team. But back when he was with E8, he was unreal in that position, just given to like focus on getting kills. Teaming up with Sykes, who, other than the most, which actually no, he actually did pretty good at champs in the end. But other than what's it called, seventh at champs. But like yeah, other than that, like historically, Sykes finishes top 5 at like Lance. He either doesn't make finals or finishes top 5. So Sykes him dropped great IGL. It's gonna be a force to reckon with.
I also think in the original tweet, didn't they also have Talmadge as a coach?
Yeah, Zap and Talmadge, those guys are like a package deal at this point.
Yeah.
Like someone even said that, and it's just like, they kind of had their little come up together, and they make sure they take care of each other. Which Talmadge is a great coach. That dude speaks so eloquently and just a super nice dude. Every time I see him at LAN, like we have a quick little chat, say hi to each other, and he's awesome. So like, yeah, I look forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah, we'll have to bring him back on. Friend of the program, Talmadge, now with the new squad here. And when you look at the entire roster in itself, what were you going to say?
Well, look, okay, you can name that roster. We said 2 rosters, but is Furia's roster locked in? Like,
so that's
we
the
can talk
other
about
thing
that
I was going to get
if
to.
we wanted to.
Yeah, that one's
the envy.
interesting. I'll bring that one up in a second. I was gonna. My last thought on the dropped team was when you think about all the roles that involve a professional squad, you think of anchor, you think of IGL, you think fragger, and then you think of a coach. I feel like all 4 of those names they fit in pretty damn well with every role that you're looking for.
Well, yes and no, because the thing is, like, also too, like when I was talking to some of the Alliance guys, right? Like they see it like more in a different way of like Hackis is not the fragger of that team. Like he's the IGL, but like he's not going to be the one who's like when you got unlucky in effect, he's not going to be the one in the mix fighting there. So Hack is the IGL and kind of the anchor, and then you have effect who's like a fragger, and then unlucky calls himself like a refrag role where it's like he's not meant to like be the primary aggressor. He can be. He did that like in Germany when they had Tyler there, but like he's meant to like effect goes in for big damage and unlucky follows in as the refrag. So it's like that's why I'm saying like these roles are kind of like changing because like when I look at that team, I feel like they fit in the same thing. You have Zap maybe frag, you have Sykes in sort of like this refrag role, and then you have dropped play like a little bit of more of that lower like play back while he lets those 2 guys just go crazy. Anchor, as you would say, but he's IGL, so like, is he technically anchoring? Because at the same time, he's got to be out there for information. So it's like they're actually what I'm feeling like almost like more of like a fluid type role that's out there now that's building with these teams. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And with this squad, at the very least, it's the first one that's been announced so far.
Mhm.
So I think usually after we see one squad get announced, that's when all the dominoes start to fall around the rest of NA, and we'll see how that goes. So we talked about a little bit about it last week with Furia and all of the weird stuff that was going down. Obviously, the tweets were deleted. I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. Nobody really does, I don't think, at this point, at least on this show, of how they all kind of smoothed everything over. But as far as what the Furia roster is looking like right now, it is still Madness, it is still Keon, and they have been playing with Noct, with JMO obviously being the coach. Watch those scrims today, and it seems like this is the direction that they're going to go moving forward. Obviously, nothing official at this time, but I'll throw it on to E with this roster, Noct, Madness, and Keon. Do you think that this is an upgrade from Vaxlon, or do you feel like they're kind of still in that same exact spot, like a team that can make a match point, but maybe not fully win, a LAN or a playoff?
I mean, Vaxel. I would say. I mean, it's hard to say upgrade when I think like the way that Noct plays versus like Vaxlon is not exactly the same. I think that Noct is an upgrade to the squad overall because I believe he does have experience playing with. Is this a squad that we previously saw at one point through all like the Rostermania?
No, but like
Or am I
wanna
thinking of somebody
say-
else?
I want to say like I can't remember, but I want to say that Noct had a very very brief stint with Madness, like but a long time ago.
Like
Not
very brief.
yeah, not nearly as long as like Vaxlon actually had like experience with Madness, but I'm trying to think about if it was even within that period of time when not no, because he kind of went immediately to ESA to play with Duplex and Skittles. I was gonna say like when he got dropped from
Yeah.
C9. There's somewhere in there I know that Noct played with Madness, and I don't remember when. I know it happened, but like
Okay, so
it
we're
didn't
both on the
last long
same. We're
enough.
both on the
Yeah,
same page. Yeah.
but like
Because I could not tell you when it was, but I remember.
yeah, but like I think that it did definitely happen, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that like there isn't still something there. Like, and I do agree with you in the sense that I'm pretty sure. Like, I wouldn't say that any squad that picks up Knocked is ever a downgrade, right? Like that team. I think it was bench.
Yeah, like
warmers.
no disrespect,
Yeah.
no disrespect to Vaxlon, right?
Yeah.
Because he's an incredibly talented player, and I believe he's already on a different roster. And I don't even know if it was Vaxlon making the decision that he wanted to leave, or them saying like, "Oh, you should go." I don't know if you guys have info on that, but like, I think that I mean, Noct is an incredible player, and I think the way that they've been playing in scrims, I haven't watched too much, but I saw like a game or two, and they won, and just like the way that they are already able to play off of each other so well, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do. And like, I believe they've been ripping Valk a lot, and Keon's definitely one of the best in the game to do it on that character. And that's a character that's pick rate is very low. And so it's a character that they'll be able to utilize many rounds into these games.
Yeah, the way that I heard their comms with JMO in between games was they were basically saying, do we want to run Valk comps or do we want to run Maggie comps? They were kind of deciding between the two. And they would, I think more times than not, they sided with the Valk. They did Maggie a few times. I think they did Maggie on World's Edge because I remember a specific game they were playing in Skyhook. But it looked like they were leaning a lot more towards the Valkyrie composition in more times than not. And then even Madness had even said at one point he might want to replace the Valk, I believe, with Crypto at certain points. So it just depends on how it's going to go. But what I found interesting about this whole thing is obviously with the new ban system, the way that they're looking at it is they're picking like one character that kind of you build around that isn't going to be voted out more often than not, which they did with the Valk and Maggie, I think is closer to getting voted out or being banned. But they kind of just picked that anchor character and built comps around those. And then they decided before games, are we going to go with this one or that one? Which I found interesting because moving forward, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more interesting ways that coaches and analysts come up with ways that their teams play these different comps.
So just a couple things, like I was going to even go back to with some of the things that Enoch was saying. Like I do feel like they play so different that it's weird to almost say like if they got better or worse. I think it's like it feels like a lateral move until like I see them play. I need to see them play. Going on to the point of like, did they play together? It was in between when he got dropped from C9 over to before he went to ESA. He was playing with Madness. Bench warmers.
Yeah, that's
great track record. That team was in the first split of Pro League when we got Pro League, like that year 2 format, the format we know now. They played together there, didn't finish. They split up before the end of the year. One of two teams to split up before the end of the year, so that season had 40 teams instead of 30 teams in Pro League, and the season finished off with 38 teams because they didn't didn't make it all the way
out. They left
out.
the bench.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully they can have a better spin this time round.
Yeah, I think this one's more permanent. I feel like this one will be.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I remember that like when that era when they disbanded, they just jumped off like so quick. It just I don't know what goes on behind the scenes and everything like that, but it was like 2 or 3 days went bad and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna be splitting up, guys. We're not playing together. So everyone's like, wait, what? Like you're actually on the verge of qualification. Like, why would you not just keep riding it out here? So yeah, interesting stuff. But
yeah,
it's also been 3 years or 4 years almost.
Yeah,
So
which is nuts to think about. Other than that, some other notes on teams and what they might be doing. Obviously, Cloud9 was one of the teams that was saying we will stay together, but we are going to be looking at other offers as it goes on. It looks like they still appear to be playing together. That's Saucer, Shuby, and Naughty. Seems like they're still playing together at this point. Another team that's kind of come out of I don't want to say come out of nowhere, but they've been around and they've been doing really well in scrims as Duplex, Deeds, and Fun FPS. DNO, the old DNO squad coming back. So that's another one right there. And then I've seen, I think Funk has trialed with Complexity, and then also Vaxlon, I think, also trialed with Complexity, which obviously they lose enemy on that. Enemy goes over to the Stallions roster that I mentioned earlier. So Complexity trialing out some people coming up here for that first ALGS Open. So as far as teams go, that's what I'm seeing so far. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say before we moved into some of the roster stuff?
I was gonna say, like, when you hear guys say like they're still keeping their options open, I think, and like you guys get like I have know nothing behind the scenes. I have not heard anything, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong, or if like just on your opinions. I'm pretty sure everyone's keeping their options open because they're waiting to see what happens with like Verhulst and Phony. I think like once you hear wherever those guys are, then like everyone will just kind of like be solidified. But like they're keeping their options open because like you get a call from either of those guys, and like even Sweet was probably in the mix at the time too until he decided to like say he's taking a hiatus. But like yeah, you're waiting for like those kind of three guys to like make an announcement or like make a decision where they want to go. And once they do, I think everything's going to fall into place. Those are the dominoes you're waiting for.
Yeah, I feel like Verhulst definitely has to be that top 5 player in Apex that Sweet was mentioning that he had wanted to work with, and he felt like it would have gone really well. I feel like those two on a team would have been absolutely like. I feel like that team would communicate exceptionally well together.
Yeah, it's I want like I'm it's interesting because like I wonder if like Verhulst is a little bit more vocal than someone like Guild, but like Guild like the only thing with Sweet is like we obviously like when it comes to like micro macro, we've always said like Sweet is like undeniably one of the greatest in the world, right? It was just more so I find people kind of can't deal with like that passive aggressiveness he has a little bit. Every sort of IGL has some level of whether it's passive aggressiveness or like they're just aggressive straight up like a Hal or something like that or a Zero even. Um, I actually wonder if it'd be something that Verhulst would work well with. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know, like the dynamics. I feel like every sort of IGL is gonna have a little bit of an edge to them, and it's just like, like the players just gotta somehow fight through that, right? I will say I did get to talk to Sykes at LAN a little bit, and he says that like even Sweet's rep sometimes that he gets like on like the freaking Reddit and everything like that is so overinflated, and he said that Sweet was like from his perspective was one of the best players he's been able to like work with. He was very understanding and really good to them like in their time playing together. So that was pretty cool to hear about him.
Yeah, I mean,
For
when we had Slayer on, if there was anybody who could have said anything about
Yeah.
Sweet, it would have been Slayer.
Yeah, true.
And Slayer said only nice things. He's like, it was
True.
awesome. It was the
Yeah,
best. Like he
there
made
you
me
go.
so much better. And yeah, like Slayer could have had a legitimate gripe, and he didn't say anything negative whatsoever. So
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, I saw Slayer when I was leaving Japan inside the airport, and I walked up and I said, "What's up?" And he's a dude. He's an absolute dude. Shout out Slayer. We'll have to get him back on. Actually, yeah, that should be when we look at moving forward because top 5, right? You got 5th?
5th, yeah, with VP. I didn't even think about it when I was looking at it.
Yeah. We got to get Slayer back on. Okay, so that does it for all of the Rostermania stuff going on right now. Verhulst, obviously the key cog. It seems
Okay,
like.
well,
in all
wait,
this.
hold up, real quick. I thought that there was a thing. Did you get? I heard that apparently Evan leaked.
Didn't we talk
The
about that last
roster.
week?
Oh
Of
yes,
him and
he-
Phony?
yeah. Well,
The
yeah.
100T thing.
Yes, he did leak the roster. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember.
He leaked the
I think-
full roster, or just
Yeah,
like
I think Donnie sent it to me, but I gotta
he
find it
leaked-
real quick.
How did he leak the full roster after leaking the Discord thing? Like, because I did see that he leaked he leaked the 100T Discord stuff, and like apparently you see Jen Burton's profile picture, and then I think the second profile picture was Bronzy. That's
I
what
just sent-
someone told me once. The thing
Yeah.
is about that is like it probably does leak exactly where he's going. At the same time, there
Wait,
is
so
a
if
world
there's
where
a team, you're telling me we got a Phony, Verhulst, Jen Burton squad.
Well, I didn't hear phony. But like
I thought it was phony.
but
That
like
was
I just haven't heard.
I could be
if
wrong.
It could be. I just haven't heard. I didn't know who that third person was.
I just sent
Why-
Donnie a rogue text. Hopefully he's still awake. He should be because we're supposed to watch Love Is Blind.
Why
as
would
bros
Donnie
tonight.
not be awake? Donnie's awake right now.
He has to be. He has to be.
All right, I just muted and talked to Donnie midstream.
Okay.
mid broadcast, not stream.
Yeah.
He said phony Verhulst.
If Phony Verhulst,
Phony
Jen Burton?
Verhulst, Jen Burton. That's what he said.
Okay,
So
that's the
That's
roster.
I don't know where that
cold.
league. I don't know where
That's
that came
cold.
from.
And
That's a
for
crazy
100
roster.
Thieves too, cold.
That's a crazy roster. That's a crazy roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, that's an
See, like,
insane.
This
It's
is
hard to
that's-
talk about it now, but we'll see.
Well, like if that is a roster, can I just like I want to go back to like these are rosters where like I don't know, I feel like you like maybe this has always been a thing in Apex, and maybe I'm doing an alliance video right now, so maybe I'm so focused into like the build of alliance. It's like Hawkes can put out damage. Don't get me wrong. Like once upon a time, he was like the sole aggressor on his team when he was playing with guys like Yuki and Vipes, and then he picks up Effect and he was able to take a step back, and he picks up Unlucky, he's able to step back. But like I feel like a lot of teams are really being built around like just get two insane fraggers to like go out there and do their thing, and your IGL almost works as your anchor now. And then like, but they still have to find a way to be able to also get that information because a team like Phony, Verhulst, Jen Burton, that's what you got there. Verhulst kind of fits a little bit of the anchor role sometimes, but still like they can fry those two guys, right? Same with like we talked about like dropped Sykes, Zap, two guys that could just absolutely go crazy, and then like, and it feels like teams are building around that as opposed to like what you would almost say like Dark Zero always was, where you had Zero opening up every single fight, right? Or like TSM last year, where you had Hal opening up every single fight. Your IGL is not needing to put out as much damage anymore. Is kind of what it feels like these teams are being built around. I don't know.
So you're saying like the structure of team building has kind of started to alter a little bit and change into that style,
A little bit,
that
like
alliance style.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna deny that like that other style like doesn't still work, right? But it's just like it feels like yeah, like that's kind of what I don't know, like Alliance like in the last 3 lands of the year went crazy, and even in like the one land where they had Tyler still fit the bill of like he took Unlucky's role as like this refrag as they explained it to me, and then Unlucky was the fragger at that event, right? And so Hawkes still didn't like have to be the one like opening up those fights and everything, especially because he was playing crypto. So it's just like, yeah, from a perspective of the fact that I'm saying, like, yeah, maybe like a little bit, maybe like if we see these teams really good, maybe the structure of where like your IGL almost doubles as like your anchor in a way, but like I almost don't want to say anchor because like those IGLs need to like be moving around to scout. So it's just like your less aggressive players, your IGL, and then you like focus on letting your two fraggers like get out there and fight. Your frag, your refrag, rather than this sort of like fragger anchor IGL rule, right?
Yeah.
You know?
100%. No,
maybe I'm like getting too like fucking theory craft out here, but that's just what I'm.
No, I don't think you are. I mean, if they're trying to adopt a like an alliance, formula, that's probably the formula you want to follow. Like that's especially after
I don't
last
even know
year.
if they're like thinking about this, right? Like if you're Phony and like Jen Burton and Verhulst are like, yeah, I'll team with you. You're not saying no, right? So it's like I don't think Phony's being like, well, I need to make sure that this is what we're building. Like it's Phony, it's Verhulst and Jen Burton, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like that's 3 LAN winners right there. Like that's a crazy team.
Yeah, absolutely insane team. An insane team.
Again, like the Zainu Koi Phony roster was like very much like that too. But go
very
anyways, we can move ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
They won.
Just saying, and they won.
They won.
Yeah, and they won.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like the same sort of build. You had those guys, and then you had Phony. Like not. And again, Phony can put up some damage, but he doesn't need to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So those are that's kind of the roster mania we've got going on right now. Once again, there's a few players that need to sign somewhere before we start to see everything kind of settle and we finally get like that lock going into the ALGS Open. The last thing I wanted to talk about here, just because I think it's interesting and it's brand new to the entire sport, is the ban system, the legend ban system. And I've been watching some scrims here and there, trying to get more in depth with figuring this out. And what I love about this the most is the fact that going into the broadcast now for these LANs, it's going to be really fun to watch people break down legend bands and compositions and stuff like that. Because I think for the last few years, I mean, you might have one team that tries something different, or maybe on one map they swap out one legend, but a lot of times these compositions stay the same. I want to see if that happens again, even with the band system in place, because I'm going to be paying attention the next few days just to see exactly how it goes down. But as far as I've seen so far, a lot of times this is how the bands go as follow: Ash, Bang, Cat, Castle, and then Gibraltar, I think, fits in that final spot. So what ends up, if this ends up happening to where those are the legends that just get banned at the end of every game, and it just follows that same pattern, we might just end right back up in the same spot that we were before. But you will at the very least be seeing new legends come into play, legends, and they're moving around a little bit. There are still going to be nuances to it where teams are exploiting a team's lack of having a good analyst or coach, where they might have one and they have this ability to move things around. But as far as it stands right now, Ash, Bang, Cat, Castle, Gib seems to be the pattern that has been following so far with the legend bands.
It makes it that like it could be like, okay, game 1, this is the meta we play. Game 2, this is the meta we play. Game 3, this is the meta we play. The only, I wonder, almost like interesting thing is if like that pattern really, really does play it out, there's an opportunity for like 1 or 2 teams to kind of like find something that can make it play for all 6 games and gamify it. I don't know if we'd actually end up seeing that, because I wonder if like it does start getting random where it's, instead of like the Ash Bang, like, holy shit, what if Newcastle gets banned second game? Now suddenly like you better adapt real fast, right? Everything's changing. But yeah, it's just it's pretty cool, or not pretty cool. It's actually, I should actually even say unexpected to me that already played out. Like, it's obvious when we see it happen now, okay, the best characters that they want to use are going to get banned every single time in a pattern. But for some reason, when I heard about it, I was like, oh my God, like, we're going to get Vantage banned on game 3. Like who the fuck's running Vantage? Like, that was never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, no matter what happens, like I'm saying, it could just follow a very specific pattern. I think with the amount of maps that they've thrown in here now, I still think even with a pattern on bans, you're still going to see a massive amount and different range of legends being picked.
Absolutely.
Just purely based on the map you end up going to. And so watching teams play Broken Moon, they hate it. I mean, they fucking hate. They despise Broken Moon. It is so funny. Everybody hates it. Like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. And you know what? That's, it is what it is. I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch either way. It's going to be exciting.
I was going back through EWC again recently, and it was kind of interesting. The casters talking about EWC when Broken Moon got played. We were, as viewers and spectators, all like, "Oh my God, Broken Moon! This is fun!" Like, we're all excited, and like because it felt like something about like Broken Moon getting voted in. Like, not even the other maps, but Broken Moon specifically felt like it was almost like an exhibition map. But then Onset's like, remember though, like, although we're finding this really fun, every point in this game is the same weighting as every other point. So it's not an exhibition match. And these pros are taking it very serious too. And like you said, I bet they're all sitting there going, I can't believe we have to fucking play this map right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was watching Furia and they were talking to JMO after one of the games. They were landing Solar Array, I think it's called. And they're landing there. JMO goes into the call after they die. And he's like, I had this ranked 14th on my list of POIs that you want on this map. I'm moving it down to 20th. Like they despise, they hated it. And they just did not like the map.
Cliffside and Hazmat Tunnel, Solar Ray sucks. Like, there's not a lot you could do. You have to wait for other people to rotate, but they could rotate right on top of you right away. It is like, yeah, it makes it that like you don't have a lot of options. You have to move really fast, not great loot. You get console, you do get beacon, like they both spawn there. But I don't know, E, what do you think about like Broken Moon entering the mix? Like, you played it like a lot on a ranked or like perspective. Like, what do you think about it though? Like, if you're to call it like a ranked map, comp map, what do you think?
There are some, I mean, for ranked map, it's not bad when you only have to play it like once one day, and then you don't have to see it for a couple. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not nearly as bad as like that 170-day rank split, like that just made it. I think that put just like it made
Everyone hated it
everybody
for that
hate the
reason.
map.
And that's when
It just-
Promenade still existed. That stupid fucking middle
They
POI.
they literally just made everybody hate the map, and so I think everybody who like bitches about Broken Moon is simply because they just still have like resentment built up for it from that long split all on Broken Moon. But when it comes to like a comp map, there are a lot of chokes and a lot of areas where it's like very hard for teams to navigate through if there's going to be like teams already there. I mean, like it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I do think that there are a couple spots on that map where it's going to be a really interesting end game. But I think it'll be good overall just to see how different it does play out. And if everybody's going to complain and talk about how bad of a map it is, it'll be interesting to see what that looks like come game day and how that plays out differently from the maps that we've been accustomed to, and whether there's going to be like a noticeable change in something that is considered a bad map versus what is established as good maps.
So what I am excited to try and get a pro's perspective on next time we get them on here is actually about like even the competitive integrity, about the fact like if they do 6 games, like how are they splitting this up? Like I have no idea. Like are they doing 2-1-1-2 with 4 maps, or are they doing 2-2-2? So 3 2s, and then like just one map isn't played for the day. So maybe one day you get Storm Point, Broken Moon, E District. Another day you get Storm Point, Broken Moon, World's Edge. Another day you get World's Edge, Broken Moon, E District, right? Like, and then the thing kind of becomes like, where's the competitive integrity at that point? And like, how do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like that's balanced, that you're getting like a proper pro league split? Because, okay, let's give it an example. Like Falcons, they fucking farm when it comes to Storm Point. Like, I actually could even get the numbers here, but like, they go crazy on, they actually were going crazy on every map, like right before, before this LAN. But like historically, Zero has performed really good on Storm Point. Like in Pro League last year's second split, Falcons, like Jayhawk puts a chart up for their average points per day, and Falcons were so far up on the Storm Point chart that he actually had to move them down just so they would fit on the same graph when he posted to a picture on Twitter, right? Because like they were averaging like 15 points per game when everyone was averaging like 7, right? Or something like that.
That's a baller.
Yeah. So like imagine like Falcons gets some sort of split. Like if there's a way that they're able to balance it out, then everything I'm saying is a moot point. But like imagine Falcons get some sort of split where they are on Storm Point more often than other maps. And like compared to a team, like maybe you have a team like Furia who also is like maybe number 2 on Storm Point, not like the Falcons 15 thing, but maybe they average 9 points. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, like Furia gets E District, which is their worst map because it's the newest map. They get it freaking most often, and so they struggle. Like, is there competitive integrity there, or am I just like whatever? Who cares? They just play whatever. It's the same game. Forget about the maps. Figure it out or don't. Like, do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, is that fair to the teams or not?
I don't know. I definitely, I don't know if I can speak on whether or not it's fair, because at the end of the day, like the format is still the same. But I will say it is kind of crazy to go from 2 maps and then instantly jump up to 4. I felt like just introducing E District, I think everybody was pretty happy with that map, and it seems like a lot of teams just really enjoyed that map overall. Every person we've talked to about it that's been on the show seems to have liked it, and they always speak glowingly of it. And I think that left us with 3 maps that all pros, for the most part, in the vast majority, agreed were good comp maps. You had Storm Point, World's Edge, E District, and then it just seems like you kind of threw in Broken Moon off of a whim, which just doesn't. I don't know. That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, we went so long with just the 2 maps. You finally get the third one in that makes sense to be in there, and then you just kind of throw in this one late. It just, that part doesn't really make sense to me.
I don't mind it because like we did. Like the other option is they take out World's Edge. That is another option. Which is really funny because World's Edge has been played for a very long time, and people are like, "Oh my god, I've had a tough. I am tired of this map." Storm Point is also like Storm Point's been played for nearly 3 years at this point. Like it's been in the mix for a really long time too. Just please don't take it. I love Stormpoint still, so I would
No,
hate to
no.
go to E District E District Broken Moon. Imagine that. But like there is
Yeah.
a world where they take out like World's Edge, but
Which would be really, I think that's such a bad idea. I'm with you. Like, I don't care how long, like, you play on World's Edge.
yeah.
Like, World's Edge is, like, in my opinion, a map that just needs to be there regardless of the other ones that you have. Because it's just, like, it's the map that was created for competitive Apex. It's been changed and adapted, like, over the years. And it would just feel wrong. And I'm surprised by the amount of pros who do have the opinion that they think it should be taken out simply because of how much has been played.
I think it's just
honestly
like the
keep
popular
them
thing
there.
to say. I think it's just the popular thing to say because there are so many pros that complain about it, but then after like you get some end games, like even Nicewig, he complains about it a lot. But like I've watched Nicewig also then be like, "That was a sick end game." Oh my god! Like whether it's like Skyhook or this or that, he's always talking about how happy he is on the end games on World's Edge sometimes, and I could be wrong, but like I remember Greek at some point saying like oh like the World's Edge games were like the more intense ones today. Like it tends to happen. Like you have a lot more tight quarters. They know how the problem is like I guess they play out always the same. You know where a team's gonna always be and everything like that. It doesn't change. There's not much variety anymore because it's been played so much. But like you get a lot of like really intensity still on the map because it is so much more close quarters than Stormpoint and E District, for example. E District's close quarters, but it's a bigger map, is what I mean. Or even Broken Moon. So you get a lot of that. And then the other thing is that's really funny is we were talking about this actually before we hopped on the call, but every LAN this year ended on World's Edge. So in the past, before year 4, every LAN ended on Stormpoint. And then this year just so happened to be that every single LAN, EWC, Split 1, Split 2, and Champs ended on World's Edge. What does that mean? Does that mean the pros are suddenly so good at World's Edge? That's the one where they can close out their match point games? Is it just random? I don't know. But it's like, World's Edge is still getting like some excitement in there.
Yeah. So I don't know. To go back and answer your question, I would be more comfortable with it just being the 3, E District, Stormpoint, and World's Edge. I would be comfortable with that. And I like Broken Moon. Like I actually really like the map. It's one of my favorites to play. I really only play casually though. So, that's just
I hated Broken Moon when Promenade was in there. I was just
destroying Promenade might be the biggest glow up of all time.
Yeah. And then the only other issue now though is like Quarantine Zone is like Quarantine Zone's good, but like I think it's bad for comp because
it's bad for comp because whoever gets so that is fucking
crazy.
Big.
Yeah. Whoever gets that is crazy. And like is there only 20 POIs on Broken Moon too? I know E District only has 20. I don't know what Broken Moon has. But like even across maps, like it's crazy that Quarantine Zone can be a POI for someone to drop at. And then there is a POI on E District, which is right in front of Stadium called Slums. And like it is literally like 5 buildings and that's it. No respawn no beacon, no console, nothing. How can those be 2 equal drop spots? It's wild.
Yeah.
Like I'm bringing that up across maps because like imagine a draft where someone gets Quarantine Zone and then someone gets Slums. That guy's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you feel like they should split Quarantine Zone into 2?
I do, but they don't want to split POIs anymore. They don't want to. So like they got rid of all the split POIs on World's Edge, for example. So the only one I think that still exists in the game is Barometer. I don't even know if I'm right on that. They might have got rid of the Barometer one too. It might just be one now.
Quarantine Zone is stupid.
For one POI, right?
No,
like,
it's just no. You have the most loot in the game of any POI, and you are literally center map. Have basically just
zip rails.
You have like the best rotate anywhere.
Rails. Yeah.
Everybody would have to go through you for the most part. Like most.
It's such an OP POI.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Because I know even on that stream I was watching today, there still is like they're getting feedback. I think the pros were saying there's like a Discord where they can give feedback to the ALGS ops about Broken Moon. And from what I heard in some of the messages, there was a lot of thumbs downs. There's a lot of thumbs downs. So we'll just have to see. That doesn't mean
it's going to get removed. And I'm all for having more
I don't think they're
going
to remove it just based off that. But as far as just what people are
I think
thinking
the
about
thing
it
that
right now.
happened this year is EWC was a good kind of like testing ground for some stuff, right? And they basically saw that when they threw those random maps into EWC, that like they're like the pro players will, if they have to, if they're told they have to play it, they will. Even if like they complain about it, they will. And then BLGS was a good testing ground where they played it out and everything like that. And it was the same thing. It was like if they have to play on it, they will. So it's like if EA or Apex, like whoever is in charge, wants to get like the other maps to be seen for variety and like for a viewer experience, pro players are just gonna have to play on it, right? Competitive integrity or not, they're gonna have to just play with it and they're gonna have to make do. And I mean, like, to be fair, when you think about other esports, how many other esports do you watch where like they play on 1 to 2 maps? Again, I know it's on a smaller scale, but imagine Counter-Strike only being played on 2 maps ever. Probably
Yeah.
get kind of boring to see like they would play out like Counter-Strike's been played for 20 years and some of those maps have been around for like that time, like over
Yeah.
20
I mean,
years now.
I'm
I
a
think, like,
CS
close to 30.
casual, but whenever I see like Dust, whenever I see Dust 2, I don't want to watch. I feel like I've watched more than enough Dust 2.
And that's why
I've
Dust
watched
2
so much.
is in the competitive rotation, like because it's been there since like the 90s, right?
Mhm.
Or like there was a version of Dust and like the Dust 2 came out, but like
I just get bored.
the other one is Mirage. Like Mirage has been played for so long, right? So it's like the way Mirage plays out every single game, even if you're actually like you play Counter-Strike, they play out the same way all the time, right? Because it's just like it's been so perfected almost, right?
Yeah.
So imagine like they don't mix out, change the maps, like the competitive rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But that is the update so far on everything with the brand new rules and the brand new maps and also the legend ban system and figuring out what teams are going to be doing moving forward. Ladies and gents, that should just about do it for all of the news updates with the ALGS so far, as we're still in the off season, but we've got things going on down in the qualifiers. Actually, the team that qualified, we should actually say some of the teams that qualified here. VSM.
Vayne.
That was
Vayne is
McLovin,
back.
Vayne, and was it Circe?
Circe.
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 Yes, sir.
So those
McLovin,
three
Vayne,
are
Circe.
moving on into the ALGS Open from the NA region. So shout out to those guys. I think Vayne's been on the pod before. We had Vayne on, right? E?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Before
Indeed, indeed.
me.
That was before jumps. So
Well, Vayne's
shout
cool.
outs to them.
I haven't had the chance to talk to Vayne too in depth, but he's a cool guy from what I see. And he had that freaking sick run, getting third at
Mhm.
at LAN. Hope he gets the opportunity to make his way back.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. We would love to see it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit a quick ad, and on the other side, we're going to round out the show, do the heart to heart, and then send you guys on the rest of your weeks. Let's get it. All right, ladies and gents, let's round this bad boy out. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. It's the off season, but we still love being here anyway. It's always nice to talk some ALGS with the fellas. Who wants to go first? You know it's you.
Jumba.
The
it's
funny
you.
thing is
All reliable.
the funny thing is I was sitting here, I was like, shit, they're gonna call on me to go first, and I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Do you want me to?
No. Wait. I got it because
You always post
I
third. What do you mean?
quickly open up Twitter, and as I see Twitter, unfortunately, he's getting frustrated because they just lost. But I see Connor McDavid.
Oh my god!
I
knew
see
he was gonna do
Connor
this.
McDavid as they lose to the Florida Panthers, which sucks. He's having a little bit of a rough stint right now. But the reason he's having a rough stint, he admit to it, is he is having a tough time adapting back to the NHL after scoring the game-winning goal at the Four Nations to take gold and send USA home. So
Yeah, it'd be real nice if your boy over there, Austin Matthews, could do anything for the team.
My heart to heart is just some good old Canadian pride, winning at the game we do the best in. And yeah, that's about it.
We're right behind. We're so close to you, and
Listen,
you can feel it. You can feel the heat. You feel the U.S.
the
right there.
juniors keep winning. I don't deny it. Like, if we need better goaltending, Binnington pulled through, but Binnington had me nearly with a heart. I was holding my chest the entire game. No word of a lie. Holding my chest the entire game. And that's because of Binnington leaving his net to go behind the net when the U.S. is dumping pucks in at Mach fucking 59. And I'm like, you're not going to get that puck. Stay in your fucking net. And like, the guy was never in his net. He was constantly skating around. I've never seen a goalie want to be a player so bad. But anyways, he pulled through.
He
Absolute
loves that
stone
building. He loves that building.
Yeah, so
he
does
won
Mitch
a Stanley
Marner.
Cup in that building.
Actually, Mitch Marner hates that building. Like that guy hates that building.
Yeah, so that was tough. The Four Nations Cup was awesome, and it was great to see so many people talking about hockey. So that was sick. But watching the U.S. lose, I haven't felt a pain like that in a tournament that's literally brand new. I didn't know I could feel so much pain from a tournament that's literally never existed before. But
yeah, but it's the Canada
know,
USA thing, right?
Yeah, it's the Canada US, but we also haven't seen best on best
in
Canada versus
years.
US in a long time.
Canada versus US in a long time, but 9 years since we had best on best. I don't know. Did they both make the finals like at the World Cup? I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
Like they played, but I don't think they made the finals. Like it was
the last memory I have was, I think, what was it, 2014 Golden Goal?
No, Golden Goal was 2010.
2010. That was the last time. That was the last time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They played in 2014. That was a year where Canada was just fucking unreal and just kind of like just wiped the tournament clean.
Yeah, 2014. I remember, wasn't it Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane walked by in the line, and it was Patrick Kane just crying?
It was in China, bro, so I didn't watch the final game. Like, it was a given that Canada was going to win, and they did. It was at 7 a.m. my time. I didn't watch that.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But anyway, hockey's back. I guess that's the good thing about it, but also watching the U.S. lose to Canada again.
You have to understand, though, like, I am a Leaf fan. Right? And so, because of that, and then, like, you know, even my fucking Apex teams, bro, I don't get to see anyone win ever. Ever. So, like, this wasn't just the fact that, like, Canada wins and, like, Canada Ranger. I finally got to cheer for a team that fucking won something. Obviously, I did, but the last time I did, I was 11. I was sitting on the floor, like, watching the TV.
Who was the MVP of Canada?
Mitch Marner.
No. Who was the guy they gave the trophy to?
Yeah,
the actual MVP.
It was all just politics. It was Mitch Marner.
Well, no. Who, but like the guy, like does he?
What
play
are you
in
trying
NHL?
to get at? He's Canadian.
Well,
Nathan McKinnon. He's Canadian. What are you trying to say? Yeah, Colorado and their shit this year.
I was just asking who was the MVP. I didn't know.
We're gonna just keep Enoch here to his bitch.
Me and Jumbo got into a screaming match.
Screaming.
We got into a screaming match for 15 minutes about that game.
We were mid watching Love Is Blind. Buddy jumps in. Hey Jumbo, how you feeling about Canada? Set me off.
Yeah,
and honestly, we weren't even fighting Canada US. We were fighting at the fact we shouldn't get into this. I'm getting red. We were fighting about the fact that, like, Wyatt wants to blame Austin Matthews, captain of the U.S., captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, that he fucking let the team down. He was shit. Austin Matthews, 2 primary assists. Austin Matthews, 2 primary assists. The rest of the team couldn't fucking do anything.
You say
best defensive forward of the team.
Literally, it was a wraparound that went off his stick.
God,
it was a wraparound that went off his stick. He lost control of it.
Like, that
and
was
it goes in this low slot.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't take the puck and drive it to the net. They don't fucking score twice in a row.
He wasn't looking for the play.
He was trying to score a goal, and it caused a goal. What does it matter? They don't ask how, they ask how many. And guess how many everyone else on the team had? Fucking 0. And then he was the best defensive forward on that team. Give me a break. Adam Fox fucking sucks.
Yeah, honestly, I will agree with you on that. If I see a New York Ranger on the 2026 roster, I will riot, because all 3 of them were terrible. They were all the worst.
New York had the most players from their team in the tournament, and they all sucked. They
were all terrible.
They fucking came back to their team and lost 7-1 to fucking Buffalo.
Yeah, it just the worst. The worst.
Anyways, we'll kill the
we'll kill the vibe. E, do you have one, or do you want me to go?
You got it.
Okay. I'm gonna follow up. So, like, there was definitely some arguments in the boys' Discord with me and Jums, but there was also a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah.
And it's one thing that's brought us together, and it is the television show Love Is Blind. Now, for people who've listened to the Apex for a long time, back in the day, me and Finn used to talk about it a lot too. Here's the thing: I got all of the boys. I got all of them to start watching.
9 of us
show.
Watching at one point.
There was 9 of us watching at one point. We're all discussing love and which couples are going to make it, which ones won't. It turned into, because right now season 8 is dropped, but the final episodes haven't aired yet. So we just started watching season 2. We watched it in its entirety. And last night, the boys up at 2 a.m. watching the reunion episode where we're just we're VOD reviewing Love Is Blind. Like we're we're going back and we're watching and we're taking notes. And
What was
so
what was the guy's name? That one guy had like some crazy game. Like who? What was his name? He's with the
Who?
girl. Isn't the girl's name Lauren? Oh, why am I forgetting his name? They're fighting all the time because he doesn't like that she hooked up with the guy before the show.
Oh yeah.
What's his
Season
name?
8. His name's
Season
Dave.
8. Dave.
Yeah.
But like the one thing is Dave had a opening line in those pods, and that opening line just slapped with every girl. Like it just did.
He just
like,
said
it
he would
like,
walk in. He
I
would
was
be like,
like-
"So what's wrong with you?"
grabbed a notepad, and I was
hit.
just like, I was just like writing some fucking notes. What's wrong with you? That's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay,
But yeah,
that's
so
like-
all the boys have been watching, and the one that I really thought would never watch, the one that I thought I could not get
Jayhawk
was Jayhawk.
Yeah.
And when I told him that we watched the reunion without him, I could feel the hurt in his voice. So he was like, "Are you serious, dude? Are you serious? You didn't text me? And we watched the reunion without
He's like,
Jay?"
I was awake.
He was
literally said
legitimately
I was
hurt.
awake. He's like,
He
I
was
awake.
hurt. So after this show, I got to go. I'm going to rewatch the reunion. It's going to be tough to watch because that reunion is hard. That one is difficult. There's one character in that season that's just an absolute nightmare. But yeah,
they're real people.
bro, it was, he would not stop talking the entire reunion. It was insane. So yeah, never thought, I mean, me and Jay are just discussing the intricacies of love after each and every episode. And all the boys are out there. We're just throwing out our takes, and it feels good. Every single night, the boys are in there just cracking open a new episode. So it's great. It's awesome. Love is Blind, bringing people together. That is my heart to heart this week. E.
I'm gonna just keep it simple. I'm just gonna go with that. I think that it's great that each day we have an opportunity to strengthen ourselves and get better. And I want to make it to the gym more times than I don't, and I did that today.
Hell
and
yeah.
I'm thankful I did that. And I just want to keep getting stronger. I think because I think the world needs stronger people out there,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Would you define
and
that
then the
as
gym is not a bad way.
Would you define that as gratitude at all?
No, I didn't say anything about gratitude.
I was just trying to see if I could steer it slightly there. I was trying to
doesn't
maybe
have to
maybe
be
he's
every
grateful
single
for
time.
being strong. Maybe he's grateful for being stronger.
Yeah.
Shit, we're missing
Yeah.
out on it. Okay,
Grateful
that's
for the opportunity to do all of that.
fine. Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
yeah.
There we go.
There we
As
go.
a gratitude extremist.
Gratitude.
There we go.
Ladies and gents, that should just about do it for this week's episode of the Apex the Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, once again, we've got plenty of things coming up here in the future. This offseason should be a lot shorter than that time in between Split 2 and Champs. I think it's going to be much shorter, so we'll have a lot more time to talk news, to talk strategy, and also with all the new rule changes, much more different discussions that can be had as the ALGS continues to grow. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex the Podcast. See ya.